Well, hello and welcome to a Brawny is going to talk about a thing that isn't out yet and he hasn't really played, but he just wants to talk about it anyway kind of video, which, if I'm going to make any more of these in the future, I guess I should come up with a snappier title. But that's what I've got at the moment, so that's what I'm going to go with. So what I want to talk about today is the Evercade. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Evercade is a handheld system that's coming out, designed to play retro games. It's got HDMI out, so you can plug it into your TV. It seems to be quite well built, very well priced, and all the rest of it. Now, the market has not exactly been lacking in devices like this. So why do I think the Evercade's going to be different? I mean, clearly the fact of doing a video about it tells you that I do. I wouldn't bother doing a video about any of the other things that, all these other generic handhelds that come out. I don't like saying bad things about stuff, so I'd rather just not talk about them. But the Evercade feels different to me, and it's really tough to try and put my finger on why. I mean, the first thing for me really is that as a company they seem very good at interacting with fans and with people who might buy their product and potential customers and future customers and people who might be on the fence. And I don't like saying bad things about other companies, so I don't really want to pick on this, but infamously at the moment you've got the Atari VCS, which looks great, don't get me wrong, but almost everything that everyone has seen has been mock-ups, and no working prototypes, no real hands-on experience. I'm sure that will come. It's not really the same market as the Evercade anyway, but I just wanted to pick it as an example. I don't think they're doing communication and customer satisfaction particularly right at all, whereas I think the Evercade are, and that goes a long way for me. But if it was just providing the same old games, I wouldn't have an interest in this thing. I mean, I've got a huge number of consoles. I've got a Raspberry Pi arcade machine in my loft. I've got ways to play a lot of games, and I've got a lot of games, 700 and something at last count. So it's not that I am lacking in things to play or ways to play them. But what makes this special? The first is it's not digital. It doesn't have digital distribution. They're not trying to save a quick buck by just having a digital store that you can download things from. Which means that once you buy this console and you buy any of the cartridges that the games come on, yes, that's right, cartridges, then you will have that forever. So whether the company makes a massive success out of it and produces hundreds of cartridges over the years, or whether it, and I hope it doesn't, but whether it goes the way of the world after a couple of years and vanishes off the face of the earth, you have still got the things that you paid for. And the thing that makes that interesting for me is the choice of games they're licensing. They first announced some stuff, and I don't know what all the things were actually announced, but the first time the Evercade came to my attention, they hadn't announced a lot of games, and they were announcing things like the Atari cartridge. Now, I've got no problem with an Atari collection, and there's a fair few games on this. So I mean, Atari Collection 1, for example, has 20 games on it. That's pretty good. The pricing's pretty good as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But when you start looking down that list, an awful lot of those are games that you either may already own, certainly have probably shown up on a bunch of Atari compilations in the past. So, I love Tempest, don't get me wrong. I think that Asteroids is a good game. Not necessarily the 2600 version, but it's perfectly playable as it is. But even in this first cartridge, where you're seeing games that come out again and again and again, and I was thinking a bit like, oh, this doesn't seem to be anything special. There's the occasional, how can I put it? The occasional weird game. So Ninja Golf is a good one. So I didn't know this game existed. It was a Atari 7800 game, and it appears to mix playing golf with being a ninja. Now that's intriguing to me. The Atari Collection 2 cartridge was a similar thing. Again, this one's got 20 games on it as well. But you've got Yard's Revenge, you've got Centipede, you've got Centipede and Millipede. Oh, yeah, that's a bit, yeah. You've got bowling, Atari 2600 bowling. I'm not being funny. Who's asking for Atari 2600 bowling to be playable in this day and age? When I first heard about it, it kind of went over my head. I went, oh, that sounds like something that will exist. Maybe I'll buy one if it starts to go really cheap because it's not making the money. And then they announced, other bits and pieces from companies that you would expect. Then they announced the Namco collection. And yes, that consists of things like Galaxian and Pac-Man and Exevius. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, I've never tried. But again, there's also some stuff, a couple of things on there that I've not heard of. Namco Collection 1 has 11 games on it. So the good thing is all these cartridges have got multiple games on. So, I was happy with that. It all looked good to me. And then they started licensing some weirder stuff. Some stuff that you don't see here, there and everywhere coming out on consoles. They licensed an Interplay Classic Collection. In fact, there's two of them. The first one's got Clay Fighter on it, which I seem to remember is a terrible game but incredibly entertaining. I could be wrong on that. It's got Earthworm Jim. It's got Battle Chess. Now, I hate chess, but I played Battle Chess on my PC in 1993, 4, whatever it was, pretty solidly. It's got Boogerman, which as an adult I shouldn't find hilarious, but I do. It's also got two other games that I've never heard of, and to be honest with you, I'm having trouble reading. Oh, one's called Incantation, and one's called, that might say Titan, actually. So that's an intriguing selection of games. That's a set of games that don't come around all the time. And their Interplay have done a second collection as well. So you've got Claymates, which I know nothing about, Earthworm Jim 2, Clay Fighter 2, Prehistoric Man, The Brainies, and the wonderfully titled The Adventures of Rad Gravity. I was kind of getting on board with this. They still hadn't announced any pricing, or my timeline on this may be wrong, but I was not aware of any pricing or anything like that. I just knew that these things looked like they might be fun. And they kept steadily announcing cartridges. There's a Data East cartridge. There's a second Namco cartridge, which actually, to my mind, is more interesting than the first, most notably because it's got Splathouse 2 and Splathouse 3 on there, which are games I seem to remember quite enjoying and I haven't played in years. So, it's got other good stuff on there as well. Then they announced the price, and I was incredibly pleasantly surprised. So to buy an Evercade is $59.99. That gives you an Evercade and a cartridge with it. If you buy it for $79.99, you get an Evercade and 3 cartridges. Now, it looks as if those cartridges are going to be predefined for you. You're not going to be able to just pick any 3 cartridges, which is a bit of a shame. But even so, if I'm that fussed, I'll just buy the $59.99 one with 1 cartridge, whichever cartridge that turns out to be, and then buy the others, because the games are only 15 quid a cartridge. And all of these have got, like the Interplay ones I think are the smallest ones, and they got 6 games on each. The Atari one's got 20 games on. There's a couple of other cartridges that I haven't mentioned that both hold real interest for me as well. So one is the Mega Cat Studios collection. Now this is interesting because this is new games that are made to be retro games. I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here. You've played an indie game in the last 10 years, you know that this is a thing. But what's really nice is that they're bringing out their retro style games on this retro handheld. So as well as getting the old school games that you want, you're getting new old school games, which I'm aware is weird as a sentence, but works for me. I'm quite happy with that. And then there's the Pico Interactive collection. Now this one is 20 games. They look to be pretty good games, and a whole bunch of them are weird and wacky, maybe some unfinished SNES, Mega Drive, that era, 16-bit era games. Some of them are games that came out at that time, and just, I assume, nobody remembers. But do you know what? That's, like, that's really intriguing to me. But this handheld, this chance to play the slightly stranger end of retro, the less common end of retro, is really exciting to me. And the fact that they're 15 quid for a cartridge of a minimum of 6 and a maximum of, I think 20 is the biggest at the moment, that's really appealing to me. This isn't a sponsored video, they're not paying me. I mean, they want to pay me or they want to give me a free Evercade so I can review it. Amazing. I don't see that happening, but I'm probably going to go out and buy one when they come out. It's not released till next year, which gives them plenty more time to launch even more cartridges. You can now pre-order it. There's an exclusive black one, which is coming from funstock.co.uk, and there's obviously the standard white one. I actually prefer the white one, I think. I'm really quite excited by it. I think it's going to be good. You might have noticed this video is a bit more freeform than my normal videos. I couldn't be bothered to script it. I just wanted to talk about a thing that I'm genuinely quite excited about. So there it is, the Evercade. I would like the white one. I intend to pre-order the white one, or maybe just wait until a bit closer to the time. You can currently pre-order bundles as well that contain all of the cartridges that are coming out so far. That's 150 quid. I haven't done the maths, but I assume that's a saving. So if you are the sort of person who's going to want to buy them all, that's probably going to be right up your alley. I just wanted to say, I know I haven't done a video for ages, and I'm just starting to get back into the swing of it, but this was something I wanted to talk about. I'm really excited by this. This looks like something I could totally get behind. Go check it out if you like the look of it, pre-order it, tell me what you think about it in the comments below. So have a great day, and I will see you soon.